Hello folks, it's Graham from the Bargain Guy channel. You have a rare treat that you don't get to see my ugly mush today on this video. So what we're doing, we've got a bag of goodies here. I'm really interested in electronics, especially Arduino programming and just generally messing about as people of my age do. And I've been doing it for a long time. I was doing O-level electronics when I was 19, a long time ago now. So I've always been interested in this sort of thing. And what I'm doing is I've pulled to bits an old CD player, a Bush CD player. I'll pop an image of it now to show you what it looks like. That's it there. And it wasn't working. It was sort of kind of scratchy, but my auntie gave it to me because she didn't know, she was just going to throw it out, but I salvaged it and I removed some of the parts. So let's have a look inside. So what have we got now? These are the speaker grills. I would normally throw these out, but they're metal and they're actually quite trendy. I think if we were to use these, we could cut them into a sort of circle fashion and you could mount them over a speaker, which is protecting it from getting damaged. So I salvaged those two. Had to cut them out, unfortunately. As is usual with a lot of these products, it has everything's molded in together. So the first thing I wanted to look at was this board here, and what do we say on here? It's not normally recommended to recover things like these, which are capacitors, but they're well worth taking out just to see if they work. I've got testing devices which will tell you whether they're accurate to what they say on the side. So you've got a voltage and you have a farad reading, so we can test those. The littler ones I'm not interested, they're too small and they're fiddly as well. So what we've got is connectors, which I'm not interested in. They are really cheap anyway, but there's a nice 4-way sliding switch there, which you could use in various things. If you've got different sensors, you can switch it to a different sensor. So you could be monitoring a sensor that's looking at the temperature, and then something that's listening to sound, that kind of thing. Looks quite complicated on the bottom, but if you know what you're doing, you can get that off relatively easy, and they are cheap to buy. But I hate wasting stuff like this. It just goes into landfill or it gets chopped up and then recycles as tiny little bits, but there's plastic in there as well. Well worth salvaging. So that's the one side. I'm just picking on the bigger boards here. Oh, I wanted to just show you on the back, not recoverable I don't think, but there's actually a Bluetooth module here, and you can buy them. I think they're about £2 each. It's so small that it, look at all the pins on there, but it's interesting just to know what it is. You can tell it's Bluetooth by when you see that very small area. That's all they need for the Bluetooth connectivity. So if you're at the other side of the room, it will pick it up. So ideal. These things obviously you can't do much with them. They're proprietary or custom made chips. You could take them off if you want, but really to get access to them and use them is no good at all. So yeah, put that down to one side. So this bit here, we've got a MOSFET, and you can tell a MOSFET, it's normally got the 3 legs, and it has a heat sink because it generates heat. It can switch electrical voltages around, it can amplify voltages, and the trade-off is it dissipates heat. and that's where you see that. So we can recover that as well. And there's some larger capacitors. If you don't have any capacitors and you want to just build up a collection of your own to tinker with, again, some decent sized ones there you can take off if you fancy doing that when it's a rainy day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6, yeah, 7. So well worth having a look at salvaging those. You've got a tuning knob or a switch, which is just called a potentiometer, and you can use that for altering resistance or voltages, low voltages obviously. And they're only 2 pins, so they're very easy to recover, and you can use them in your circuits as well. There's an audio jack. Really, you can just buy them, to be fair, because they are quite, let's say, complicated, I think, for a majority of people. Nothing interesting on the board. Another one of these anonymous chips, usually audio drivers or something of that nature to control the audio output. So yeah, we'll put that to one side. We've got the aerial. These are all very useful parts to keep, and I've got the screw in there as well, and I've got the cable that comes off it to connect to the circuit board, just so I know where it connects to. And as you see, it's perfectly usable. So if you're building your own radio, FM radio, AM radio, you could use that. Pointless throwing it out. What we got here? Oh, we've got this, another potentiometer. This just pulls off, and this is the tuning dial. It's quite resistive to turning. I've just bunged it on and screwed it back in, but if you're making a radio and you want to customize, you could use that as your tuning dial, or you could just use it as a potentiometer. Again, like this one over here. Where is it? There's it. On there. There, that one there. So handy to keep. What else have we got? Now, I don't really mess with these because these are transformers. These are what take the voltage out of your AC supply. So there's the figure of 8 plug that goes into there, into that coil, and it reduces it down to an output of whatever the machine or the CD player wanted. So 6 volts, 12 volts, whatever. It's a shame to throw it out because they're quite useful, but I don't play with them too much because I can provide 6 and 12 volts from battery sources or power packs. This is very interesting. You know, you get switches and all sorts on the side. This is called a momentary switch, so you push it down and it pushes back up itself like that. And if you can hear the clicking, what I'm thinking is I could use this as a Morse code key. Dot 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 dash 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 dot dot dot. I'm into Morse code. I like all that stuff. And it's a very simple switch, and it's got 2 wires, and you just create a circuit, and this will create the circuit and that will break the circuit. So again, you could use that in your Arduino projects if you want to do that. You could, on pressing that, you could make a loop circuit that provides an audio output to a buzzer, and you get a do 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 do. You can create that kind of thing. So I think they're worth keeping. You can buy them. They're about £1.15 each, but why not salvage them when you can? Are you getting interested now? They're exciting. Right, I always go for the speakers. I love the speakers. Right, these are 4 ohm 3 watt speakers. So these can be used in all kinds of projects, and look, everything's stuck to them. These are they're already connected with left and right, but you could take those off, desolder, and use them as a single source supply of audio. So if you're doing any audio work with your Arduinos, MP3 players, that kind of thing, or buzzers, use them as a buzzer, ideal. And it's a shame again, they're in perfectly good condition. It's a shame to waste them. Some people may take the magnets out, but they're well worth keeping, because they can be sort of £2-3 each again on online. These are all the battery terminals, springs and all that. These are very helpful and useful for projects. Yeah, you could be making your own battery box. These are for the larger, are they called A-type batteries? So there's quite a few of them, and the plates that go with them. Lots of screws as usual. I keep all them. Now what's missing is the diode that reads the CD player, and it's got 2 motors on, and it was sticking, and there was no belts or anything. There were cogs, but I don't keep them. You can. Some people who do hobby electronics, especially automotive stuff, keep them as well. But the motors, which would have been useful, were welded onto a chassis, a metal chassis. So I didn't keep that mechanism, and it'll just get scrapped. The other thing was the diode, which is like a laser diode. Some people make torches out of them. They're quite dangerous if they're pointed towards your eyes and stuff like that. So again, I'll leave them. So hopefully you can agree, based on just a scrapping of a simple CD player. I've got lots of little things we can use in my projects and recover and tinker with and learn about. If you just learn about electronics and you want to know about capacitors, you can take them off and test them. You get little test kits, and you've got your potentiometers, so you can learn how they work just by connecting to breadboards and things like that. So ideal for kids learning electronics, even adults like me who still learn at my age. So if you like this kind of stuff, please give me that like, write a comment in the description, and follow me and see me do other things like this, and hopefully we'll get into some projects where we'll reuse these and basically save money. But what I'd like doing is just spending time messing about with these kind of things. This is what people do, don't they? You know, it's better than sitting looking out the window or watching a video on the telly or Netflix and all that sort of jazz. So yeah, good stuff. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.